glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is builded as a city that is compact together. Whether the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, into the testimony of Israel, to give thanks unto the name of the Lord. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. Peace be within thy walls, and prosperity within thy palaces. For my brothers and my sisters and my companions' sake, I will now say, peace be unto you. Because of the house of the Lord our God, we will seek thy good. It's so wonderful to be in the house of the Lord this morning. It's so wonderful to gather together with my brothers and sisters as we do on each Sunday to deepen our understanding of who we are and whose we are, to deepen our understanding of how much we have to be grateful for, to remind one another that we can look at the world in whatever way we choose. And it is so easy and so tempting to look at the world as a place that is filled with turmoil and separation and bitterness and hatred and top dogs fighting underdogs. We also have an opportunity to look at the world in a different way, as a world of complete potential. I know that Robert Kennedy was the one who made it famous, or brought it to the attention of the world, but he was quoting someone who had spoken before him, but we know it through him, and that was that some people look at the world and ask why. Others look at the world and ask why not. Why not something better? Why not something richer? Why not something more united? Unity Church is an organization that is all about uniting people. We know that in spiritual arenas where we are about the idea, the philosophy, and the forwarding of oneness, that will always be tested, sometimes in the congregation and sometimes in the greater world. But I want you to know that I am able to stay strong when I think of you, counting on you to stay strong. Because if we do not stay strong like a tree planted by the waters that cannot be moved, we will certainly in this day and age, and in all ages past, get rattled and shaken like a reed in the wind. We do not want to have our experience, our inner experience, be the result of whatever is happening in the world. If we do that, that's a very precarious position to find ourselves in. We want to be at cause by connecting with the source of all power in the universe and in our lives, that we call God the Good. We want to remember together that the peace song is not just something we want to end our services singing, but it's something that we want to remind ourselves of each day as we wake up in this world. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. That's the big part to me. That's where the rubber meets the road. Let it begin with me. It is so easy to feel peaceful to people who are instigating peace in you, but we get no perks for that. Can we remain at peace even when things in the world are instigating a response that is not peaceful? So I thank God, because I know that none of our time ever is wasted when we gather together. We are really forwarding the transformation of our minds. And we all know that to change your world, you must change your mind. To change your relationships, you must change your mind. To change your financial status, you must change your mind. To strengthen the strength of your body and your heart and your mind and your spirit is something that we, each of us, are required to do for ourselves. But it's good to know that we have one another and that we're not out there alone. We are a team. This congregation, this community that is unity in the city, is a team of people. Let us love one another. Let us extend compassion to one another and understanding to one another, so that each time we enter into this tabernacle called Unity in the City, we are able to go home and back into our worlds knowing that we have been blessed and knowing that we have been changed, knowing that our power has been reactivated. Part of the way we do this is through deepening our understanding of the 5 Unity principles. And I would like to ask for volunteers. I will need 5 of you to help us to deepen the 5 Unity principles. If you don't mind, I would like all 5 of you to stand. One, two, three, 4. 5. And we will let you go in order of appearance.
I'm Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn.
Hi. God is absolute good and everywhere present.
Give that to us again, please, Evelyn.
God is absolute good and everywhere present.
Let us know this together as a community. Together.
God is absolute good, everywhere present.
Feel what it feels like to know that God is absolute good, everywhere present. If you're like me, you get tickled inside sometime when you think of this, because you instantly bring to mind a couple of people, or at least one major person, who you have not been seeing this week as fitting into this category. But I want you to know that God is every bit as present in him or her as God is in Christ Jesus. Would like the second person who stood up, let us give us your name and we'll deepen principle
Good
number 2.
morning, my name is Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. My essence is of God, and therefore I am inherently good.
Give that to us again, please.
My essence is of God, and therefore I am inherently good.
Okay, let us know this together as a community. Together.
My essence is of God, and therefore I am inherently good.
I am inherently good. And who I am inherently is who I really am. So even if my personality does not behave in a good way, it does not change the essence of my being. I am spirit. I am sourced by God. I am inherently good. The more I remember this, the more I can bring it into fruition and into manifestation. Principle number 3, and your name first. That was you.
That was me.
Pardon?
My name is Timothy.
Hi,
Good morning.
Timothy.
I create my experiences by the activity of my thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thoughts.
Give that to us again, brother.
I create my experiences by the activity of my thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought.
Let us know this as a community. Together.
I create my experiences by the activity of my thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought.
This principle invites us to discontinue playing the blame game, which is the most popular game on the planet, always has been, always will be. It invites us not to believe that we are the victims of any other person or what they are or are not doing, are or are not saying, are or are not thinking. This informs us that the power is within us to determine what our experience of things is. And we live in our experience. That's home for us, my experience. I've said before, as cozy as the idea might seem, we are not each of us living and sharing one experience. It's a cozy idea, but it is not true. Each of us is living in his or her own experience of this world. And invited to experience it at higher and higher vibrational levels, at higher and higher levels of love. We know that love is the answer, whatever the question. And so we are today deepening our capacity to remember that we are love and to just be what we are. Our fourth principle.
Prayer.
And your name? I'm sorry.
Jane. Hi, Jane.
Prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God mind, and therefore brings forth wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good.
Give that to us again, please.
Prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God mind, and therefore brings forth wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good.
Let us know this together as a community. Together.
Prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God mind, and therefore brings forth wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good.
I don't think there's one person in the sanctuary today who can't use a little more health, prosperity, wisdom, and everything good. I think we're all in agreement that more of that. Thank you, more please. Thank you, more please, health. Thank you, more please, wisdom. Thank you, more please, prosperity. Thank you, more please. And this principle informs us that we connect with God mind through creative thinking. And we know that the opposite of creative thinking is destructive thinking. Once more, the things going on in this world at this time, as they have been all throughout time, are temptations for us to discontinue creative thinking and move into destructive thinking. It's like a rock fight. Most of us have as our alibi for participating in a rock fight. Well, he started it. He hit me first. We're like little kids that think that it's all right for us to attack because someone seems to be attacking us. Well, we know that this never works. It never brings us happiness. It only increases the feeling that we are what we could never really be, which is the victim. There are no victims. We are filled with power, connecting with God mind through creative thinking, life-giving thinking. That is our role. That is our function. And that is why we are here. Let me tell you something. If you look at yourself and discover that you have been participating in destructive thinking regarding anyone or anything, rather than constructive thinking, don't beat yourself up for it. Don't beat yourself up about it at all. Just get back on. Get yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back on track. Just love yourself so much that you're willing to embrace even your so-called shortcomings, or what they called in the Pentecostal church, your backslidings. Oh my God, I was so loving and I was so compassionate. And then last week I backslid and went off on somebody. Don't beat yourself up. It just comes with the territory. A baby, they estimate, attempts to stand up and walk from here to that coffee table right there over 250 times before succeeding. The baby gets up, determined to get to that table, to stand on two legs and walk, but falls on its butt 250 plus times and never gives up and never chastises himself or herself. Never says, what a bummer. You know, when am I going to get my act together? I should have this down pat by now. I fell on my behind again. No, the baby just gets up and keeps on trucking. This is our job too. And it's a fun job. It's a great job if you're not beating yourself up. And the deal is, you will beat yourself up as much as you're beating somebody else up. Stop beating them up, and you will find that you're no longer beating you up. We have our final principle. Give us your name.
Good morning, I'm Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are just the beginning. I must also
please.
Knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are just the beginning. I must also live the truth I know.
Let us know this together as a community, together.
Knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are just the beginning. I must also live the truth I know.
And living the truth we know is the fun part. Living the truth we know increases our sense of self-esteem. It increases our sense of self-worth. It increases the good that we feel about ourselves. When we are not just walking our walk, but we're not just talking our talk, but we are actually walking our walk. Reverend Stanley, who was the minister, the head minister of Unity on the Bay in Miami many years ago, back in the 80s, when I was his assistant, used to say that this is called putting feet on your faith. We know that there is a scripture that says, faith without works is dead. And so we are here not only to have faith in these principles, faith in God's almighty power working in our behalf, faith in the idea, the truth, that the universe is conspiring to bless us every step of the way, no matter what it looks like. As we increase this faith and walk it, we are putting feet on our faith, and we are forwarding heaven on planet Earth. I'm going to ask if there's anyone that's here with us for the first time. I met a couple of people in the hall, but I didn't get whether it's your first time. I think someone has been here to receive Reverend Ed's blessed message and not mine. So is anybody here for the first time? And I see that there's not. Okay, I'm going to turn you back over to the music ministry so that you can greet one another.